everybody, it's Skyee here again today, and I've finally decided on a page to do another color along for. Don't mind noises from my little monster in the background. He's quite hyper today. So anyways, I did a live video a little bit ago to explain why I wouldn't be finishing Wendy's Walrus from Enchanted Faces. Well, I should say why I wasn't going to be finishing it on video. But I have since finished that page. So here it is here, and I'm fairly happy with how she turned out. Not too happy with the shells or her eyes. Excuse me. Because I originally had the shells blue, and I didn't like that. Plus I wanted the fish gold, so I needed something else to tie it in with. So I used gold paint to kind of go over them, and then I went back in with a black marker, and it probably would have been okay, except this marker was way too thick. I should have tested it out first, but I didn't. So yeah, she's got super thick makeup, and the shells look kind of weird, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And let's see if I turn my light on here. She is super glittered up. There's glitter pretty much everywhere on her fins, her shirt, and her hair. All the bubbles are glittery. So I'm fairly happy with that. If anybody's wanting the colors that I used for her, I'll show them here quickly. Hopefully you can read my messy writing here. So the only thing that I didn't write down was that I used violet, blue, blue lake, and white for her eyes. And then I used my normal lip combination that I usually use. I think that was Process Red, Hot Pink, and Light Peach. Other than that, hopefully that helps you guys out if you wanted to finish that in a similar fashion as I did. So I had a lot more requests to color I Dream in Color, and a lot of the reasoning behind it was because there's just so many little details in this book that it's kind of tricky to figure out what to color. I have started this one with my Marco Ruffines, I just haven't finished it yet. But other than that, the only picture that I've colored in here is this one, Can't Have a Rainbow Without a Little Rain. And I was extremely happy with how this turned out. So I decided that the next picture that we'll be doing in here is the artist girl one. It says every artist was first an amateur. And of course these ones didn't come with names because this is a different kind of book. But we'll just call her artist girl, even though I think the artist one in this one is called Artist Girl 2. It is. So we'll just call her Dream in Color Artist Girl or something. I'll figure out some kind of title for her. But anyways, I figured that we would start on the hair. And I do want to do an ombre hairstyle. Just because they're good practice, and I could definitely get better at them. Plus they're the most requested anyways. So we're going to use Danny's hair color combination for blondes. Now if you don't know Danny, she's one of the admins in the Hannah group as well, and she also just recently started a group called Prismacolor Combinations, and I will link that in the description here as well. It is the reason why I haven't shown another flip through of my color combo book yet, because I've been taking some people's combinations from the group and I just haven't gotten them all written down yet. So once I get to that point, then I will definitely do a quick flip of that. So that'll be in the future. Now the other thing that I was thinking, I haven't quite decided yet, but I was thinking background for this, because I kind of want the clouds to be kind of multicolored, because this book is called I Dream in Color, so it has to be a really colorful book, in my opinion. That's how I see it. So I was thinking to make all of these different little details stand out, was to do a gray background. So I figure I will do a gradient from a darker gray up to a lighter gray, or maybe even the other way. We'll have to see. I'm going to do the background last, I think. We'll just kind of see how everything goes, and we'll just... I never really plan a picture out completely. I just usually start with one thing, and it's usually the hair. I'll usually figure out that color, and then it's usually the clothes, and then I'll start in on the details. Usually skin is last, but we'll do the skin before the background, I think. So anyways, the colors that we'll be using in order from lightest to darkest. Jasmine, which is PC 1012. Yellow Ochre, which is PC 942. Goldenrod, which is PC 1034. Burnt Ochre, PC 943. So those were, oh, and Dark Brown, PC 946. So those were the colors in Danny's hair combination, but I decided to add two more. So I'm going to add Dark Umber, PC 947, and Black, PC 935. Just to kind of give it a little bit more room to play around with, because she has some pretty long hair, and I wanted it to start off fairly dark at the top and then slowly transition to blonde as it goes down. So without further ado, let me zoom in here and we'll get started. Now hopefully that'll be close enough so you guys can see, but it'll also give me more room to get pretty much everything in 3 frames here. Excuse me, guys. I don't know why, but I woke up with a very scratchy throat today. So we're going to start off with Jasmine, which is the lightest color, and I should probably sharpen mine. I'm just going to flick my light on here too. I'm not sure if it makes a difference or not. There we go. But I don't really have the sunlight coming into my room at this moment because I had to block off my window because it was coming straight in at my desk. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do what I usually do, which is very, very lightly and in circular motions. I'm just going to start putting a very light layer of the jasmine. So one other kind of exciting thing that I'm going to be uploading to my channel soon here. My birthday isn't until October 12th, and today I am starting this on, I think it's August 26th today. It's the 26th through the 27th. It's Saturday, anyways. But I was talking my mom into getting me a prepaid card for a birthday / Christmas present, and I told her I wanted it either before my birthday or after Christmas, just so I could kind of avoid the mail jam that happens fairly early around here. A lot of people like to order all their Christmas stuff online fairly early, so usually from the beginning of October to quite a bit after December, the mail's usually pretty slow. So I guess my mom is going to buy something off of Amazon for my my grandma, my stepdad's mom. I don't know what I'd really call her. I call her Honey, I guess. But so my mom was going to grab me a card so I could just grab my stuff and order Honey's stuff as well. I'm not sure what this little piece is here. I'm going to leave that white. So I got the card yesterday, and I did order some stuff. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for the pre-auth to come off of the card, so that way that the payment will go through, because I'm an idiot. Because at first I ordered everything and I didn't put the right card on, so I had to cancel that order quickly. And then I went back in and ordered everything again, putting the right card on. And then I was looking at it a couple hours later, and I'm thinking, I put one of the wrong books on there. Because I got a couple Jade Summers books. I got Fairies and Chibi Girls. But instead of putting Fairies, I accidentally put Mermaids. And I didn't want that one because there wasn't as many pictures in it that I liked. So I had to cancel that again, and they already put on the pre-authorization for taking out half of the order already, so now I have to wait until it goes back on the card to actually order everything again. Because of course I had to cancel the whole order. I couldn't just cancel that one book because, well, then I wouldn't get free shipping. So I'm using prepaid cards. Everything kind of has to be like exact, which is the thing that sucks about them, but my husband and I don't really use credit cards because it's a very, very easy way to kind of get yourself in trouble, especially if you're not careful. So I will be doing an unboxing eventually. I'm not sure when. I was hoping to be able to have it up Friday because I was hoping for the package to be here Thursday, but since I don't know when that money is going to go back on the card, I'm not sure when I'll be able to actually confirm my order. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. So I'm just doing a light layer of the yellow ochre. And I'll pretty much do all of up here. Pretty much just down to the tips of her hair. So I'll be unboxing the 72 set of the Derwent Inktense pencils. I'm also grabbing a case for those. A set of water brush pens, the two Jade Summers books, the Fairies and the Chibi Girls, Jasmine Beckett Griffith's book, which I'm super excited about. You can tell I love coloring people. What else was there? So that makes 6. Oh, and then a, I think it's a Zig Wink of Stella brush, which I've been wanting to try out for a while. Okay, you give me a minute, I'll put it on for you, baby. So I'm pretty excited about that. I just wish I wasn't so impatient in placing the order and actually placed it a little bit more smartly. Because now it could take anywhere to 5 days for that pre-auth to go back on the card. And my whole reason for wanting to grab them right away is because the Inktense were on sale for $100 compared to usually they're at around 148. So yeah, hopefully that all works out. What I should have done, I should have just called Amazon and seen if they could switch out the books, because I think they cost the same price and everything too. Okay, so I'm going to kind of leave off right about here. Again, we're still using the yellow ochre. And maybe like right about here, I think. Carbon, stop jumping on your bed. Okay. Let's move on to our next color, which is Goldenrod. So again, just super light layers, small circles or big circles, whatever you want. As long as you're doing those circles, your layers should end up fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Well, Never mind me, I'm a little slow this morning, I guess. I'm also going to leave the goldenrod off, I think, right about here. And for the most part, this is just, we're pretty much just mapping out our colors, just kind of figuring out where things are going to start and end. So that way when we get down to our darker colors, we can just actually start putting in some good layers. So I'm going to bring this down to about here, I think, and maybe put a little bit in this strand here. Oh, sorry guys, I had to get used to moving my book up and down. Okay, so I did a whole layer up to about here on this strand and about here on this. So everywhere above this had a light layer of goldenrod. Okay, next is burnt ochre. So again, just very light layer. And I think I'm gonna try to leave some goldenrod in this little poof she has on her head, just at the very tip. So I'm not gonna go up all the way with that. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. Let's see. Put in a layer all around here. I'm going to kind of fade it off right about here, I think. The thing to make it look a little bit more realistic is to have a little bit of the blonde, or your lightest color, up with your darker colors, and then it kind of makes it just kind of makes it blend and just look a little bit better. Okay, so here on this strand here, I'm just going to fade it out right about here, and then I'll leave the rest of that, and then continue on down the rest of her hair. I gotta get into a habit of looking up at my phone too, because God forbid it doesn't film or something. I would be so mad. Okay, I'm gonna fade this out about right here. So next up is dark brown. Yeah, baby.
Put everything now?
Almost.
Okay.
So I'm just going to bring that up to about here, I think. Just almost up to where we put the burnt ochre, but not quite. Okay, and then in under her little beret. I think that's what those are called. Okay, these two little strands here, I'm going to put a little bit up at the top here and fade it out, but I'm going to leave those at the bottom. I'm not going to put any of the dark brown. And then the dark brown I'm going to fade right about here on this side. And then we'll go in here. Get out of there, please. Okay, put them back. I will get you some in a minute, please. Because you're going to make a mess if you open those by yourself. Yeah. I'm just going to put a little bit of dark brown just in here. Basically just at the tips where this little patch of hair comes out from behind here. And then again we'll continue down, I think, to about here. Okay. So the best thing about mapping in your colors like this is you can always change it up after. Because these layers are so light, I could even keep a lot of this more blonde if I wanted more blonde in her hair. But I'm going to see how it goes. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just kind of go with it. I find a lot of the time... Okay, baby, just a minute, please. No, you're not getting more milk, kiddo. You don't need any more this morning. I find a lot of the time when you mess up or end up not liking something, it's usually because you're just thinking too much about it. You just kind of gotta put light layers in there and just go with what you think. And if you don't like it, then you can change it up. And if you do like it, just continue with how you're going. So I'm going to bring the dark umber about halfway up here and then fade it out. See, and that dark umber is really starting to give it that ombre effect. And when we put in the black, it's going to look even better. I'm going to put a tiny bit of dark umber here on the very top of this strand and at the very top of this little strand here. Okay, and then all of these little pieces coming out from under her beret. I'm going to bring down right about here. All these hairs that are coming out from behind her poof will all be darker. Carbon Rain, I heard you. You still have juice to drink. I am not getting you milk. You finish your juice and then you can have some more. Don't start with me. Alright guys, I'll be back in 1 minute. Sorry about that. Apparently my little guy's a little testy today. I can't really blame him too much because we had a long road trip yesterday and he didn't have much of a nap. So this little strand here, I'm going to fade it out right about here. I'm going to bring these strands down just a little bit further. I think just about here, and then I'll start fading it off for the most part. These little strands here, I'm going to have a little bit darker. Same with these strands here, and these ones coming in from behind her back. Just slightly. Basically just darker where they come in from behind, and then fade them off very quickly. Okay, I'm liking how that's turning out. So now we're going to start putting in some darker layers. Now that we kind of have our colors laid down, I'm liking the effect that I think we're going to get from this. So let's go in with our black, and I'm going to change my technique up a little bit here. I am going to start flicking in the black. So basically, we're just going like this. Almost like you're putting in eyelashes. And as you come up, you just kind of want to let your pencil flick so it kind of fades off a little bit. But you don't want to go up too high, so just short little flicking motions. And try to follow, you see Hannah has these little lines to kind of act as strands of hair. Oops. Just kind of follow those lines. So these flicks will go this way, these ones will go this way, right? Now I'm just going to keep going in and giving it little flicks. I am going to kind of darken up the very bottom here using a circular motion. But other than that, I'm going to stick with this flicking motion. So what I'm trying to achieve here, and I'll show you. I showed her before, but just in case there's anybody watching this video that hasn't seen her. Let's see if I can find her here. Oh, where is she? There she is. So I'm trying to achieve the same effect that I did with Taya's hair. And see, her hair had more open spaces. It didn't have as many of the little strands. So it would have looked too blocky if I would have colored it in like I normally do for other hairstyles. Like this, for example. It's not a very good example because that was probably one of the first ones that I've colored. So my shading wasn't very good there, but I added in these little lines just so it looked a little bit more realistic and not so blocky. So that's what we're trying to achieve here. So just keep going in little flicking motions until you're happy with it. And I think right there is about good for me. And I'm going to just slightly darken up the very, very tip of this little strand here, as well as this little strand here. And then again, going along the edge of the beret here, I'm just going to use little flicking motions down. These ones are going to be a little bit longer, so I'm going to have the black come to about here, and a little bit coming in from behind here. Now, I've only ever used this technique, well, aside from doing fur, I've only ever used this technique in hair once, and that was with Taya. So I want to start doing this a little bit more so I can kind of improve how it looks. Okay, so I'm liking that. So I'm going to come in on this side now and just do the exact same thing. I'm going to darken in all the strands of hair that come in from behind this, and then from there. I'm going to start putting some lines in. Okay, I'm going to put some black in coming from behind here. Let me just sharpen my pencil a little bit. Just a minute, kiddo. You can watch the commercials, it won't kill you. Kid's spoiled, I tell ya.
What?
You can watch the commercials. I'm not going to get up every 10 minutes to fast forward it for you. You know, Mommy had to watch commercials when I was little.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'm just going to keep with these little flicking motions. You want a hug?
Yeah.
1 minute, guys. Love you. From a little monster to a little angel. So you can kind of see that I'm leaving the tips of these strands kind of lighter. I'm not really putting much black in them at all. Pretty much just going to do that for all along her face here. Just going to keep it dark everywhere her hair comes in from behind, because that'll be more shadowed too. So here, I'm not going to put in much black at all, just a little tiny bit, and here, just a little tiny bit. But I'm not going to put any down here. I am going to bring this black down just a little bit. I'm going to just tuck a little bit of black in here, but I'm not going to really flick it in there. So just keep adding your black until you're happy with it. Go ahead and kind of fill in any areas you want to keep straight black. So I think think I'm happy with that. It's definitely making her hair look a little bit more dimensional. So we're going to move on to the dark umber now. And again, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. That's one thing, you want decently sharpened pencils. Now, I've said it quite a few times, and anyone who knows me from the group knows that I don't really like sharpening my pencils. That is about as sharp as my pencils usually get. Apparently that does make a big difference though. So if you're just starting on blending or want to get better, I've heard that it is easier to blend with a sharper pencil, so that's something to keep in mind. I just don't like sharpening my pencils because I feel like I'm going to use them up faster, which probably isn't true, but oh well. So again, I'm going to start with our poof, and just from about halfway to where the black is, I'm going to start flicking upwards. And again, I'm going to follow these strands, or these lines that Hannah has in here, and flick in the same direction that they're going. And I'm going to flick to about up to here. Of course, it's not something that you can really control. Some are going to go past. Apparently, my phone has, excuse me, a video limit of 31 minutes, so I'm going to have to keep that in mind. So, like I was saying, some of these little flicking motions are going to go past where you want them to, some aren't going to get as close, but you actually want that, because you don't want them to look completely even, because it's that unperfect effect that you're trying to get that will make it look more realistic. So you can see here all these strands going up. It actually looks fairly realistic, whereas if they were all meeting the exact same part on here, it would look really ridiculous. So I'm not sure if doing hair this way is easier than the way I usually do it, because with this way there's not as much blending. With doing the flicking motions, the pencils are basically doing all the blending for you. Aside from knowing where to stop and start, there's really not much else you have to really do. So I definitely recommend trying this out, and if this works out better for you for doing hair, because I know a lot of people struggle with hair, then maybe just stick to going this way. So we're going to come over to the right side of her face here, and again, just about halfway up to where the black is, we're just going to start flicking in this dark umber. Flick some in here on these two little strands, but I want to keep some room for some light colors. And again, these kind of three strands here, and kind of this one too. I'm not going down all the way to the tips because I want some lighter color in there too. We'll come down here and add a little bit more in here. Leaving the tips of these ones as well. Just keep adding where you think you need some strokes in here. Just to kind of, whether it's just to fill in white spaces or kind of make the colors look a little bit more together. I'll put just a little bit darker strokes, just closer to the black here. Okay, so coming down to here, I'm actually going to do the opposite. For these ones, all along here, I'm going to start from the tips and I'm going to just flick upwards towards the black, because I'm not going to have much blonde in here at all. I might just throw a couple strokes in with the dark brown, but that'll probably be about it. Another thing about doing hair this way is it's going to look more textured. You're not going to get that smooth blend of colors. So if you like your hair to look smooth like this, I wouldn't recommend this technique. So if you like your hair like that, this part of the video anyways probably isn't for you. So now pretty much just anywhere where there's black. Yeah, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit more for you guys here. Okay, so anywhere where there is black, we're just going to kind of flick in some of the dark umber. I don't want too much dark umber in here because I want to kind of fade it into blonde here. But all these other little areas of black, I'm just going to bring the dark umber down just slightly further. Yes, Angel? Cookie? What are you saying? Are you saying cookie?
Yeah.
We don't have cookies, honey. We don't have any. Oh, knock it off. With the way you're acting, even if we did have cookies, you wouldn't get any. Maybe after lunch we'll find you something, but you gotta behave, right? I'm just gonna keep adding little flicks of the dark umber just until I'm happy with the coverage in the darker areas. I think that's good. I think we're good with the dark umber. So now let's switch back to our dark brown. I'm not going to put too much of this color in here because we don't really need much of it, because with the black and the dark umber it's already kind of taking over the picture just a little bit too much more than I wanted it to. So I want to try and keep as much blonde or at least lighter brown in here as I possibly can. So again, from about halfway where the dark umber is, we're going to just start flicking upwards, trying to preserve a little bit of the blonde at the top here. A little bit in at the tips here, and then just a tiny bit in around here. So I want to put some goldenrod in here. So pretty much just where the dark umber fades out, I'm going to pick up with the dark brown and just bring it slightly further down, but not by much, just enough to get the color in there. Okay, so now to here, do the same thing. Anywhere where we left off with the dark umber, we're just going to start popping in a little bit of the dark brown. I'm going to come in on these areas and just flick a little bit in here. You'll barely be able to see it, but it's more just for good measure. It's good practice to always try and put as much color in one area as you can when you're doing an ombre hairstyle. So you don't want the strands to be too much of one color. I'll just flick down here a little bit, and down here. This strand here, I'm going to start from the bottom and go to the top. I'm not going to have much blonde in there. I said bland, same brown and blonde. But here, flick downwards, I'll leave some blonde in there. And this way. So I think that's, oh, I'm so sorry guys. Okay, I'm not sure how much of that you could see. So I just put in some dark brown flicks coming down here, preserving the tips on this strand, only coming down about to here on this one. I wanted to leave the tips on this strand and this strand. I pretty much just put dark brown in on this one. I'll probably go in with just a little few flicks of the burnt ochre here. Not that you'll really be able to see it, but I just kind of blend the colors in a little bit more. And then about down to here, actually I think I'm gonna put just a little bit more. Okay. It's pretty much just down to here with the dark brown. Okay, so now we're going in with burnt ochre. Now my first thought originally is, especially because she's an artist and this book is called Dream in Color, I was going to give her really super colorful hair. But I'm thinking that I want the clouds to be super colorful, and I think she's going to be, I haven't quite decided, but she's either going to be in a cream colored dress or a really light blue colored dress. I haven't quite decided. But this one will definitely be fun to do. So we're going in with the burnt ochre now, and I'm just going to start at the tips here and flick some color in. Again, still following the directions of the strands Hannah has in there. And I'm flicking down quite far. I really want to get that color in there. Make sure it's faded quite nicely. Now, I did want to leave a little bit of blonde in there, but I didn't really leave myself much room. So for these ones, I'm going to flick upwards and kind of fill these little hair pieces in. I'm going to go in a little bit where the dark brown is and just kind of flick upwards, get that color in there. Now here, I'm going to flick downwards. I want to leave some goldenrod in here. So I really want to have some, at least the orangish blonde color near her face, because the only other places that we'll really be able to see it are any little tips that are up near her head, and other than that, it'll mostly be at the bottom. So it just kind of evens it out, having a little bit of the blonde around the top too. So these little strands here will give them just a little touch of color. Pardon? I don't know what you're saying. So same here, I'm going to put in a little bit of color here. I'm going to put a little bit of the burnt ochre, just a few strands in around there. It just lightens it up a little bit. I want to try to preserve the blonde here, so I'm not going to come down very far. Thanks, baby. And same with here. I am going to, I'm not really going to flick any color in here, but I am going to darken up just along this line here and then fade it out. Yes, kiddo. Just wait. And same here. I'm going to flick pretty close down to the ends of these strands, but I'm not going to completely cover them with the burnt ochre because I'm going to go back in with the goldenrod. And same with here. So this area here, I'm just going to flick upwards, that I really don't need any other color in there. And then here, I'll flick some down this way. Okay, so I think she's turning out pretty good. That's about it for the burnt ochre, and then we'll go back in with the goldenrod. And I'm going to start at the crown here. I'm going to try and just kind of lighten up just the very tops these of her little poof here. Okay, so I think that definitely made it look a lot better. It's kind of hard for you guys to see, or maybe it's just hard for me to see on my camera. Just moving my light here, so hopefully we can get a little bit better lighting. Okay, so these little strands here, I'm just going to go in with the goldenrod. These strands here will just flick upwards. And same with these ones. Oh, I got a little bit on her face there. That's okay. That'll be in shadow. guess depending on where I want the light to come from. I'm not sure. Usually my light always comes from the top right corner. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the top of her head. So now we're just going to come down here. We'll put in some goldenrod here. And some in here. I'm not going to come quite down to the tips here. I'm going to try and keep just the very tips of those for our next yellow. These we'll just swipe in some color here. I'm just going to put a few lines in around here. Just kind of lighten that up a little bit. And we'll flick some color in here. Just to about here, I think. And then again, I'm going to come straight down from where the burnt ochre was, and I'm just going to bring it down to about here. And that's pretty much it for the goldenrod. Okay, so next up we have yellow ochre, which we don't really need at the top there, so I guess the first place we're going to see that is here. And I'm just going to feather that in here and leave the very tip for the jasmine. I'm going to bring some yellow ochre up these strands here. I'll just put in the yellow ochre here. I'll lighten up some of the tips in this area. And then other than that, we will bring this down up to the mushroom. And then, let's see if I can, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to flick in some color here, here, and I think this is a piece of hair here too, at least I hope so. So I'm just going to flick in some color there as well. And then going in with the jasmine, just starting at the tips, so just flick upwards until we meet the the yellow ochre. And at the top here, I'm just going to bring in some jasmine again at the very top of the poof. Just kind of lighten it up even more. And maybe just on the tips of these strands as well. Other than that, I like how her hair looks. So there you can kind of see it. I'm going to take a blender pencil, which, if you need to know, it's PC 1077. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know why it seems so dark in my room here. And finally get rid of my window cover. It's still hard to see. So I'm just going to use my little pencil extender, and I'm just going to make flicking motions, just following the strands of hair here. Mainly just where it's dark, because there's quite a bit of white left, and I want the texture without much white. So just flicking downwards. It's not really a right or wrong. I'm just flicking in the directions of the hair in any parts that have mostly the black and the dark umber. and there is her hair finished. Now, I definitely love how it turned out. If I got to do this over again, though, I would... Oh, thank God that these are one-sided, but I forgot to put paper behind. My bad. I would probably not do so much black and dark umber. I'd probably try to have more yellow in around these areas, and definitely more up here and in around here. But I'm pretty happy with it. It just turned out a little bit darker than I wanted, but at the same time, for the most part, this picture is going to be really colorful, so maybe some darker hair will kind of help. And I'm thinking with the color of her hair, we're definitely going to go with a light blue dress. So we will probably end up doing the dress next time. I'm not sure what else. We'll have to see how long the dress takes, and maybe we'll get into doing some of the leaves or something down here. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of this color along / ombre hair tutorial, I suppose. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I would love to see your pieces if you are following along with this. So if you wanted to tag me on my Instagram will be in the description, and as well as a bunch of other links that you can check out. So anyways, guys, I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.